Hello and welcome to this demo video. Before we get started, I'd just like to explain to you a few things which will relate to all of the basic range spreadsheets. Number one, there is a key on the intro and setup tab of all of the spreadsheets showing what the different color headers mean. The blue headers mean that the cell's formulated, so it's locked and you can't change it. The yellow headers are where you can input data, and occasionally there might be some gray headers, which is just a different kind of data input, but we'll include instructions as and when that happens. The other thing that you can be aware of is there are ways in which you can damage the spreadsheet. So please do take a look at the link where you see this image, which will take you to a web page to show you how to better preserve your spreadsheet. Please feel free to keep a blank version of the spreadsheet somewhere, so that if you do mess up a spreadsheet that you're using, you can in fact just open a new one, a blank one. And some of the spreadsheets only last for a year, and then you've got a blank one to start the following year. So do keep a blank copy as a backup somewhere. And lastly, wherever you see this image, you can click on it. It'll take you back to the store where you purchased this product to see if you've got anything, any more products. One last thing, to see a demo video, you can click on this on a link that looks like this in order to go to the demo video, but that'll take you to the most recent demo. If in fact we've done upgrades and you're using an older version and you'd like to see the demo relating to your version, then do click on the watch on YouTube link, which will take you to that specific video on YouTube. So I think that's all you need to know. So without further ado, let's move on to this demo video. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the demo video for the annual cost savings calculator. Now that is quite a grand sounding name, but it's a very, very simple spreadsheet. And the reason why I make a lot of these spreadsheets, most of the spreadsheets I make are because there's a demand for it, people have asked for it, and I know there's a need for the particular spreadsheets. This one is not quite like that. This one is one that I need myself. This is how I do things. It may not be in accounting manuals across the country, but I'm going to explain to you in a minute how it works. This is how I do it, and I've made this for myself. And I thought, well, if I'm doing it this way, others may be doing it this way as well. And I wanted to give them the opportunity to utilize the spreadsheet if it's going to help them. What it does is it monitors it keeps track of what money you've got in your savings account for your business. If you're like me, you've got a current account for your business where all of the transactions are going through, but then you may also have a savings account. You might want to put money aside there, potentially to set aside for corporation tax, or maybe you want to set aside money for upcoming expenses that you know are coming, the bigger expenses that are coming up, or you want to put in savings or whatever. And next thing you know, you've got a whole bunch of money in there and you don't know what it's to set aside for. And if you do have annual expenses, how many years have you put money away for, all those kind of things. So I just want to show you how this works, and then if this is going to be useful to you, get hold of it and use it, because it's definitely helping me, so it may help you as well. First and foremost, on the intro and setup tab, select the starting month and the starting day of your financial year. So you don't need to put in any year, just put in the month and day. My financial year starts 1st of May, put in 1st of May. It's as simple as that. Once you've done that, you can move on to the spreadsheet. The annual expenses is where you put in all of the information. Now, you can put in the name of the expense, just something short, just so you know what it is. So if I'm going to say web hosting or insurance or networking fees or accountant or whatever the case might be, put in the name of your expense, and then put in the date that it's due. Now that's going to reoccur every year, so put in the dates that it's due each year, and the value that you foresee having to pay each year. If there's an increase, if for argument's sake you know for a fact that your insurance or whatever goes up 10% a year or 5% a year, you can put in 5% there. And what it does then is it makes adjustments for the previous year, for the following years, as to how much you need to set aside. If it's the same value, or don't foresee any, you can update them each year. When you put the new one, you can put it in, and it'll take that same figure for the next year. So you can change the values, but if you know for a fact that it's going to increase by a certain percentage each year, just put the percentage in. It just helps you to make sure you've got enough set aside for future years. So those 1, 2, 3, 4 columns there, that would be for you to set up each individual expense that's coming off each year. The only other columns, these two here, are the last year that it was paid and for how many years. If it's one, just leave it blank because it's going to assume that you paid it for 1 year. But for argument's sake, one of my renewals, the main renewals, I've paid for 3 years up front. Then you can just put in there for 3 years, and it'll say that it's paid. You can see this is paid for 3 years. So if it's just 1 year, put blank. And then when it says put the year, what I mean there is put the actual calendar year when it was paid based on this date. So for argument's sake, let me just make it clear. This one was paid on the 2nd of May 2019. We are currently, as I filmed this video, on the 10th of December 2019. But as you can see, that one's been paid 2020. So what that means is because that was the 1st of January, it was due on the 1st of January 2020. I paid it in 2019, but I've paid the subscription for 2020. I actually paid that today, but I paid it for 2020. Because it's the 1st of Jan 2020, I put in the 2020 because that was the year that I've paid it. I've paid for the year when the invoice that was due on the 1st of Jan 2020, I've paid it. Which means that this is going to show year one as 1920 as being paid. And then 2021, which is the following year, I shall have, I've got some money set aside for that. So yeah, so put in the year that it was paid, the previous year that it was paid, and then how many years, and it'll calculate forward. So you've got your name of expense, you've got your date, value, and then increase. And then all you do then is put the value that you set aside. So when it calculates your total in your bank account, it's going to tally up this column to get your annual set aside sales plus your savings, which is 0 at the moment. I'll show you that on the next tab, and give you your current balance. So that's how much money you've got set aside. So because you've got 130 set aside there, it says, well, you've got the next year set aside. It works out when the last one was and calculates when the next year is due. Here, for example, there you've got 2 lots set aside. You've got £120 set aside, so you've got it for 2 years worth. There as well for 2 years worth, so it calculates according to what you've got set aside. So that is fairly straightforward. Last year you paid, how many years you paid, these 4 columns here just set it up, and then that's what you've got set aside, and that will give you a total. So when you come to actually making a payment, let's just say we get to the following year and it says 60 and 120, and I go, okay, now I've done the 2020 payment. You can put in a 2020 payment done, and then you can come in here and you can change it to 60 because you paid out 60 quid. And it'll now tell you up. So now it shows you exactly what you've got. Let's just put that back again. So each time you make a payment, update the year when you last paid. You can change the value if the value has in fact changed. And then any money that you take out of your savings, put it in, just rectify it here. And if you put money into your savings, obviously just tally up how much you've set aside for each of these particular expenses in this column, because that total you set aside is literally just adding up that column. So this is the important one to put in the actual value set aside. So if, for example, this one here goes to 42 and you've put in 40, it tells you you're going to be £2 short for the next year. So now you might just want to put another £2 in there in order to carry it over, that kind of thing. So you can update that as you go along. Have a play around with those numbers, see what it does. But I think I've hopefully explained that as well as I can. Just adjust these numbers when you do a payment. If you add more money in, adjust then the respective number here. If you make a payment, adjust it over there. I think that's all that there is for this page. The only other thing to add is the savings. This is dead simple. You can just put in here, for argument's sake, savings or corporation tax or whatever. Let's just say you put aside £500 savings and you've got aside 600 for corporation, whatever the case might be. It tallies up your savings, adds that to your annual set aside, and gives you your bank balance. So then all you can do is simply check that bank balance against your actual bank balance, and if it balances, then you've got all the figures put in correctly into the spreadsheet. And that shows you for 2019-2020, your financial year, how much more do you have to set aside. For 2021, how much more do you have to set aside? And for 21-22, how much more do you have to set aside? So you can see the current year, the following year, and the year after that. As far as what you need to set aside is concerned, and you can just list the rest of your savings. These are all just one-off savings where you've got an amount, a value in, amount in, and it's not reoccurring every year necessarily. Things like corporation tax, obviously everything here is for this current year. When you start putting things in, you just add on to that amount. So if I come in and put another 200, I just change that to 800, and I know how much I set aside for corporation tax. So it's really dead simple, reoccurring ones each year, straightforward values in the account, both added up to give you your bank balance, and you can update it as you go along, and it kind of just keeps on rolling over, rolling over. I think that's all that there is to say about this. If this is something that's going to help you, please do get it. I wish you all the best. And I hope that this helps you to keep on top of your savings account. Thank you and goodbye.